All right, everyone, we are live with this week's Monday team battle. I'm going to be keeping an eye on both sections. The Open should be pretty competitive. Memphis has the top two players as normal, but the Murfreesboro and Alabama clubs are not far behind, and they typically do really well in these kinds of events. Both of these Alabama players, they are lower rated than Alex and Graham, the top two seeds, but they're very strong blitz players, so they tend to have very strong results at the end. This guy is from Venezuela, but apparently he has family in Murfreesboro, and he's played in a few of their events, so he's playing for them. He's really strong. I've had trouble against him in the past. Let's see how they do. There's only 4 complete teams. Maybe we can bring in some more teams from other places to play with us. The Louisiana team stopped bringing any people, so maybe it's time to kick some of these guys out and bring in some fresh blood. The under 17 club has a couple more players in it, 35 and 38, but not more players, but more teams. Only 3 with a complete roster, though. Alex's game looks interesting. White's king might get dragged out into the center, but black might not be developed enough to really exploit it. This bishop is already blunted by the pawn, so black will be able to quickly develop, but I don't know if he can develop quickly enough to really exploit the kind of loose king on d2. Probably rook here and then move the knight to f4 or something. And then after check, even king c3 looks playable. There's not a lot of pieces that can attack the king on c3. Okay, he's going straight for an endgame. Oh, I didn't realize black was up a pawn. So maybe it's more rational to play for an endgame. White has a very brief development advantage, but the knight covers the penetration square for the rook on the 7th rank, and then black will probably play check next. Or not, maybe bring the king in and play king e7, rook d8. This also looks like a strong way to play. Let's go back out. Some people have already finished. Some draws. That's an interesting position to agree to an early draw in. I wouldn't necessarily disagree, but I definitely think they should have kept playing. Let's see. Let's see how some of the Memphis players are doing in this section. I don't like that in the arenas it doesn't give me like the 6 highest rated games or whatever. The interface for streaming Swiss events is much better. It's taking a bit for like it shows us the top game. That's an interesting berserk. He likes to berserk. For whatever reason. Pretty typical Queen's Indian. I don't know what this move does. I wonder if black will play f6. It's weakening the king, but it's a free tempo, so it's still tempting. But even something like knight f6 or knight e7, knight e7, h6 looks tempting. Yeah, this is an overreach. If white had already played e3, somehow black could consider queen this and this, but the rook could be hanging. There's always weird tactics in those types of positions. Okay, so Alabama has an early lead with two of their players having 2 wins already. Oh. Wow. Opponents not showing up to play. Okay, Nimbus is pulling ahead a little bit. Now, out of these 4 wins by the Alabama team members here, 3 of them were forfeit wins from their opponent not showing up to the round. Alex is still in the middle of this game. I think knight c3 and then trading down to a king and pawn ending should be winning. Black's extra outside pawn should win the game. I don't think there's really anything that white can do about this. Yeah, takes, and then probably king d6 or even f6. There's some finesse available over here on this side. Alex is a stronger in-game player than I am, so he'll find something more precise, but I'm pretty confident I would win this position as black as well. Let's see, how is Graham's game going? Still playing? I like this. Yeah. He's toast, I think. What is that? Why is he could have won. Black is completely winning in this position. Well, maybe not. Rook g8 threatens mate, and he still has to cover this, so he can't play this because of checkmate. But he has another tempo here. White doesn't have another move yet. Yeah, okay, so Graham ended up winning, but if you go back here, I think maybe he can just play rook here. Let's check out the analysis board real quick. But I'm reasonably confident. Maybe I'm missing something. No, well, apparently not. Apparently white can't take this. Alright, so what am I missing? Why can't he play here? Oh, it's made him on. Okay, never mind. Never mind. That was really bad. I should see checkmate on g8. And of course, the threat is also checkmate on g6, so he played the right thing, but it's easily winning for white. All he has to do for an easy win is rook a7, guarding f3, and these pawns would be very difficult to stop. But, you know, that's how games go, especially when both players are low on time. Graham gets a lot of those lucky wins, right? But I wouldn't necessarily call them luck. A lot of people think that they just get lucky when they play, or that, you know, my opponent got lucky, so I lost. But it's a bad mindset. You know, these kinds of lucky breaks do happen in chess games, where someone messes up and ends up with a loss in a totally winning position. But more frequently, luck happens because the stronger player knows how to create opportunities. And then eventually, someone makes a mistake, right? If I give you enough opportunities to mess up, eventually you'll fall for something, some trick. And that's why in worse positions, instead of sitting back and defending, which is often just going to make you lose more slowly, you end up needing to play very actively, which, if your opponent defends correctly, might make you lose faster, but it gives your opponent more rope to hang himself with, right? That's the right way to approach losing positions. And that's why Capablanca once said that the better player is always lucky, because the better player sets up positions where the luck happens, right? Your opponent gets the most possible opportunities to make mistakes. All right, we got 2 wins here. Nice. Losing the exchange, but with maybe sufficient compensation after queen takes b2. So white now loses 2 pieces for the rook. Ooh, that's a nasty way to lose. Open that C file, bad things happen. Well, you got to castle faster. Okay. Pretty sure this was a Scandinavian. Yeah. These are certainly not the lines that I play here, but I think black's position looks... Ouch. That's painful. Probably h3 is required here. I don't know why white would berserk against a much higher rated opponent. That seems like a good way to be pressured into making a mistake. And we're discussing some things that happened in the tournament last Saturday. One of the players is just super aggressive, just went all in with super aggressive play in every game. And I was losing my mind. I was like, trade pieces and win. You know, just simple positional chess, improve your position. Once you have material advantage, trade down to an end game. Some players just insist on playing for checkmate. They just refuse to play chess in any other way. And I sympathize with it, but I can't support it. You know, I gave up playing chess that way for a reason. It doesn't work. You give yourself too many chances to mess up. You give your opponent too many chances to find some kind of brilliant move that you didn't consider. And suddenly you're in a losing position. It's real rough. So I like to play aggressively when the position calls for it, or when I'm losing. Okay, if your position is worse, just go berserk. Just play whatever you think might give you a shot. Right? Sitting back and waiting to lose is miserable and also doesn't work. But if I have a comfortable lead, I'll just maintain a comfortable lead. There's no reason to do anything crazy. I have a pretty good record against him, 4-1, but he definitely makes life hard for me every time we play. What a nice in game. Let's see. He's got a pretty nice lead. This is about to get ugly. Unless Black finds something right now. I wonder if Queen F3 is just winning by force. Okay, he decided to just develop. Yeah, I think Queen F3 pins the knight, threatens mate. Rook F8 doesn't work because you took the rook. But Queen E7, and then the king can maybe slip in the other direction somehow. So maybe not. Maybe Rook F7 here. Plays bishop there. After Rook takes, Queen takes, Bishop takes, King takes, Queen takes. And then Queen takes C7. I think White is clearly winning the resulting ending. Is he going to play E6? Is he going to keep the bishop open? Leave the E5 pawn hanging? Does he have anything stronger? I guess so. I guess we're going to see. Wow, he already won that game. Just won a queen, it looks like. Looks like Graham is our only shot at taking this guy down. Nice. He doesn't have to take. He can respond by pinning the knight to the queen. Maybe he castles here? No, he just... The queen defends both squares. I'm drinking a Diet Dr. Pepper. The only diet drink worth drinking. The rest tastes like garbage. Murphy's Row with a decent lead. Only 1 point. But it's because their top player is so far ahead. One Murphy's Row with 16. And then 2 to 5, all Memphis, starting with only 6. So he's been winning games very quickly. And if Graham doesn't take him down, this is going to get ugly. What does the under 16 look like? Oh, wait, why do I have so many tabs like this? All right, so the under team. That's good. Ashish is on a roll. He's up the exchange at the moment. But Black has some piece activity as compensation. This weakens White's pawns, but it tries to forcibly trade off pieces, which tends to be good going into an ending, even if it means making some kind of positional concessions if you have extra material. Because the closer we get to an ending, the more the extra material can force some other kind of material gain. Like here, the a6 pawn is weak, so White might pick up more material to compensate for the weakening of the b pawns. He's going to take it. Yeah. And then try to win some of the other pawns too. Black might be able to come up with something, but it's kind of doubtful. I think it's interesting that he did not berserk this one, even though he's known for berserking just all the time. Patricio has won a couple of games. See. Hey, Graham won. Nice recovery. And he won a piece. He didn't save the bishop. Nice. Because if queen takes bishop f5, picks the queen back up. And yeah, now he's going to lose the bishop. With almost mate, because the queen takes away the diagonal. This is a good position to resign in. Well, at least Graham managed to stop this guy from running away with the whole tournament. Look at this. Memphis Chess Club and these Brazilian guys are pretty strong too. A lot of people are having bad tournaments. But this early, a lot of the time people are stuck playing one game for 20, 25 minutes. And so they've only finished one round at this point. As it goes on, the games tend to get faster and faster as players are more willing to berserk. The gaps in ratings become larger because in the first round, people are paired with the closest eligible opponent. And so in the later rounds, people tend to be playing opponents who are either much stronger or much weaker. So in the first 30 minutes or so, you may only play one game. And in the last hour, you might play 6 or 7. I've seen that happen many times. It's happened to me many times. But it looks like Memphis has taken a pretty significant lead. Not just with Graham, but also Alex and whoever this guy is. I always forget this guy's name, but he's a very strong player. And Aston is pretty good. We lost to Angelo. My buddy Vikas, who currently lives in California, but he's a Tennessee player. I played in tournaments with him as I was growing up. He's quite strong. See, the top-rated game is this guy again. Looks like a pretty solid position for white here. What's Graham's game look like? He's going to get a queen and win. What's Alex's game look like? He's going to get a queen or checkmate. Notice in this position, white could not take the bishop because of the checkmate on e2. Can't afford to develop slowly like this. Slow development is death. You get in trouble really fast. Yeah, that's a miserable way to lose a game. Graham has caught up. His opponent resigns here. He's still playing. I prefer white's position here, but it's still in the middle net. In the middle game. Pretty rough games. He just dropped his rook, I guess. And then dropped his queen in this one. It's kind of miserable, but chess is like that sometimes. Yeah, I was gonna say, you better see this as hanging. But then this happens. Rough life. He can't even do this because this is check. He just loses the bishop. This better not work, and I'll be upset if it does. Cool. Black has a piece and a rook for the queen. It's certainly could be much worse. But queen f5 looks annoying. I'll move on. He just won material here. It's a nice win. About Alex. Should be an easily won in game up 3 pawns. I mean, there are a few issues to unravel here. But if he just walks his king into the center. That's what I thought. Here comes the pawn. It's coming. Yeah. B4, A5. Graham wants to open things up, and it's real tough to stop him. That's the thing. He imposes his will upon his opponent. I wonder if Black can take. Come on. Let's just hang out here and watch this game for a few minutes. Should be exciting. That went about as expected. Check out another game. This one's still in the opening. A little calmer. Black has better control of the center. Black is clearly better here. Maybe not by a lot, but definitely better. Better developed, better center control. No weird moves like knight h4. So this is just a loss of at least one tempo. Yeah, black had to retreat the bishop. But the second move, now black can play any move he wants. I guess he's just going for the straightforward plan. Line up the queen and bishop, force h6, and now suddenly this is hanging. This is going to become a problem for white. Knight here might be the only response, because it's not a mate threat yet, so he could fork, but if knight c3, maybe he just plays a6. Takes the square and then plays queen d6. Let's hang out here again and see how this game evolves. This was like a real rough position for white to hold. Black's pawn structure is kind of shattered, but he has an extra piece for pawn and a pretty strong attack. It's not clear exactly how white can defend against it. He does need to untangle this annoyance on f6, but it shouldn't be really any more difficult than playing h6 and king h7. Probably defend the pawn first. Yeah. h6, king h7, and then keep going with the attack. Maybe he plays rook c2. I'd be really worried about knight b4, just attacking everything. You know, like in the long run, it's kind of tricky for white to hold on. Probably not possible. Black has less time. It just takes. Rook takes. Rook takes. Queen takes d3. This game is already over. Trading into a trivially one ending with a queen versus a rook. Queen and a pawn versus a rook. And more pawns will fall soon. The queen is really good at running around the board, grabbing everything. Ooh, knight's under attack. The threat is this fork. This is over. White will resign soon. Let's look at the under section. This is just kind of crushing. Jim Chavez is winning against Clay, but with an annoying endgame. All right, Black finally resigned because it's a dead lost ending. But this team lead is just huge. All of these players are having a rough time tonight. It keeps opening a new tab every time I open a game. Which means I have to close all the other tabs so that I can switch to the other section. Nasty way to get checkmated. There is no defense against this threat. This is an extraordinarily slow way to play. This does nothing. This is a free move for white. This is like a dragon except awful. Black has no actual play. Memphis has a huge lead in this section too. All the other visiting teams seem to be having a really poor showing tonight. Some weeks we get crushed. I mean, some weeks we do really poorly. But tonight, significant lead in both sections. With 40 minutes to go, but this should be an insurmountable. Very interesting. Alex sacrifices the exchange to trap black's king in the center effectively, permanently. I wonder if this is theory. I have to admit, I'm not as familiar with this position. This is some kind of weird Caro-Kann. But I think white has sufficient compensation here. This king is never going to find a safe place to go. I'm not sure about this. White might want to trade both bishops off and create a weakness. But I don't think this is a strong continuation. There were some potential tactics in this position with knight e5. But I don't know if that's really strong for white. It might be the best move, but it doesn't like win material or anything. I wonder about pawn takes, knight takes e5. Taking the queen, taking this, and forking the pieces. Probably winning for white. This is a little too ambitious because the center is a little loose. Okay, he plays it the different way, but well, king here, or even king here, and e4 gets shut down with rook g1. If he hadn't berserked, maybe he has time to find this. I don't know if he will, though. Maybe he will. The open g file is a problem for black. So king h1 wins a tempo. Oh, did I? I was missing the last couple of moves or something. Okay, he did in fact find it. Sure, you assigned him. Ouch. Rook takes h3. That is real rough. Black's going to go into a rook and pawn endgame up 4 pawns. This is well beyond resignable. White does not need to finish this game. Black should trade rooks. There's absolutely no reason to not trade rooks here. All right, and black should easily win. All right. Let's check back in with the open section. I guess Graham had something come up and he stepped away from the computer and forfeited, I guess. $151 to 58 is huge. This d6 pawn is definitely weak. I'd be very tempted to play this. I don't see why b. Okay, it's the bishop's on it, so he has to play b3. And then just rook d1, rook 1 d2, queen d1, and black really needs to play d5. I guess it's complicated. But white can just add so many attackers to this square. I don't even see a great way to hold on to this. Well, this is probably good, yeah. Fighting back on the F file. But I think this is going to fall. This looks really bad because the bishop is stuck. But it does give the knight a new route into the game. And now white can focus exclusively on this weakness on d6. Yeah, white wants to trade this knight off. Well, after I just posted in the chat, Anish is tearing everyone up today. He blunders his queen. I mean, it happens eventually, right? Eventually someone makes a mistake. It's hard to maintain high performance for however many games he's played. 12? He lost the first. Won 10 in a row, and then he was about to lose. I mean, queen is just too much material at this level. There is no way he saves this. Let's check out his brother's game. So the exchange for a pawn, very active pieces, but f2 is pretty solidly defended. Maybe h4, h5. Really want to play this, but you got to worry about check. I bet he plays rook d2. Very interesting position. Black's king is in a dangerous place. H5. This is held together. How does Black's really got nothing better than putting the queen back on d5, I think. And the threat is to move the bishop and then play g4. But if he moves the bishop, Black takes here and the g-pawn is pinned, and now this threat becomes a big problem. So, although both players have weaknesses, both players have strong pieces, and I don't see a coherent way for either player to try to win without creating a weakness the opponent can exploit. Like, White could win if he could play g4, this would be mate. But if he ever moves the bishop, this happens. Well, wait, does this work? Not yet. Bishop h4. If king takes check, here check, king h4, and then there's no follow-up because the queen can't take h6 with mate. But if pawn takes queen g4, it's mate. So bishop h4 is a nice idea. But maybe White should throw in this extra move first. But that relieves the pin here. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Bishop takes f2 is winning. I mean, rook takes f2. Yeah, this is over. Otherwise, g4. So White wanted to play a move that won, but it allows Black to play a move that won faster. You got to look for your opponent's threats. Now there's no way to defend g2. Black checkmates. I guess he can give him his queen. It's still mate. Sometimes both players have a way to win, but if they try, their opponent will win faster. And so both players are stuck. All they can do is incrementally improve their position until they can stop their opponent's threat. This was an interesting game. There's Anish in the middle of another game here. Yeah, this looks bad. Just bishop here, all right? Isn't that completely... Or there. This is even stronger. Black wins a queen. And almost definitely the game. Soon afterwards. Check out the open section. We got a double berserk game between a very strong player from Alabama and Graham. Graham's up a pawn, but it's not obvious how to evaluate this position. This is wrong. This is wrong. King here. He's not going to resign until after the time runs out. He never does. He's going to make him play it out, and then he's going to sit till the time expires. Nice. Yeah, this was just this at the end. I think this is completely wrong. Okay, so this loses. Yeah, that was... It should have been a draw. And then you see those kind of consecutive blunders. So, and in the under section, we have something similar. 168 with Anish with 49. Quite good. Well, I'll see everyone on Saturday for the next event. I'll be down at the club playing Blitz on Wednesday. Come on down, and let's play some chess. See everyone later.